Mudslides. Mudslides. Focus question. What causes mudslides and how can people prepare for them? When the earth moves. In December 1999, mud and debris rushed down mountain slopes in Vargas, Venezuela, during one of the worst mudslides ever recorded. Soft, thick, wet mud called sludge buried entire neighborhoods. Multiple mudslides and flash floods pounded the area for 3 days. People in tall apartment buildings watched as mud filled the lower levels. They spent days on the roof waiting for help. More than 150,000 people suddenly had no place to live. Around 25,000 people died in what is now known as the Vargas tragedy. Mudslides are also called mud flows or debris flows. They are a type of landslide, a natural disaster that occurs when a disturbance such as an earthquake or drought affects the natural stability of a slope. In the case of mudslides, an accumulation of water causes the land on slopes to become unstable. Mudslides cause soil erosion, which is the gradual destruction of land. Once the land on the slope starts to shift, disaster can strike. Moving downhill at fast speeds, mud flows gain momentum quickly. Chaos, danger, and an enormous amount of damage often result. The build-up. Mudslides are an example of how dangerous and unaccepted the forces of nature can be. Researchers are studying why these natural disasters happen and how to keep people safe when they do. They have found that mudslides only occur under very specific conditions. First, a significant amount of water must accumulate on the ground. This can happen during or following a heavy rainfall. Mudslides can also develop due to rapidly melting snow. In all cases, mudslides begin when the ground becomes so saturated with water that it starts to loosen and shift. The ground transforms into a river of mud and debris called a slurry. Mudslides often form quickly and without much warning. Mudslides flow downward on slopes at average speed of 16 kilometers per hour, 10 minutes per hour, in extremely steep areas. Mudslides can flow as fast and avalanches up to 130 kilometers per hour, 80 meters per hour. Mudslides vary in consistency. Some are mainly watery mud, while others are made of extremely thick mud filled with rocks and boulders. The fast-moving buildup of debris and mud can travel over long distances, gathering trees, sand, cars, and other materials and objects in its path. The longer a mudslide flows, the larger it grows. Mudslides can become so intense that their momentum can destroy bridges and other large structures. The danger zone. Areas at risk for mudslides exist on every continent except Antarctica. It is not always possible to predict when or where a mudslide will happen. However, some locations are more prone to this type of disaster. Regions where mudslides strike usually have two factors in common: steep mountains and heavy rainfall. Areas vulnerable to mudslides are also often near a coast. Japan and other islands in the Pacific Ocean are at high risk for mudslides. Mudslides can occur in landlocked locations too. The Himalayas can occur in landlocked locations too. The Himalayas in Asia are the highest mountain range in the world. Although it's far from the coast, the area is at severe risk for mudslides due to the sheer amount of rain that falls there. Within these dangerous zones, the highest risk locations include slopes and the areas below them, the bottoms of canyons and places where mudslides have previously occurred. Streams and channels are also susceptible to mudslides. They fill up quickly as mudslides grow in volume and intensity, and especially risky area is land that has been burned by wildfires. After a large wildfire, no brush remains and the ground is completely bare. Without plant roots to hold the soil together, erosion is more likely to occur. When enough water builds up, a mudslide can begin. Other risky areas are those near volcanoes. Mudslides often accompany the heavy rains that flow volcanic eruptions. The aftermath. When a large mudslide occurs, people nearby are often evacuated until the area can be secured. They must wait in shelters for an unknown period of time. Internet or television connection may not work, so survivors rely on radio or emergency personnel to get information. They may not know what happened to their homes for weeks. Even if the buildings in an area remain intact, mudslides and their aftermath can disrupt infrastructure such as roads, bridges, tunnels, trains, electric and gas lines, and water. Therefore, people often can't go back to their homes or businesses for some time. After a mudslide occurs, survivors may face repeat mudslides and continued flooding, especially if rain continues. In particularly dangerous or sloped areas, the water and shifting ground can create a snowball effect. The buildup of rain causes a mudslide. Then, displaced water builds up in a new location, causing another mudslide. This can keep happening for a long time, especially during an instant storm. When the disaster is finally over, new troubles arise. Standing water from mudslides may remain for a long time, creating mold that can rot the walls and floors of buildings. It can even spread disease. The mudslides in Vargas, Venezuela, for instance, resulted in extreme flooding. Water built up during the mudslides and caused the flow of debris to spread. It seeped inside homes and businesses that hadn't been swept away. A similar disaster happened in August 2017 in the West African country of Sierra Leone.